A fault is a weakness, a defect, a fracture. Faults divide, tear, and consume. Here in the city of Chester's Chasm, we struggle to maintain that precarious balance over the precipice in the earth, in our lives, and in our hearts. This story is about 4 teenagers with faults of their own.
The fault between my faith and freedom.
The fault between my family and identity.
The fault between my choice and my obligation.
The fault between my life and death.
As these fractures grow, we stand at the edge and ask, what must we sacrifice to sate the void's endless hunger? Is it possible that the answer lies within all our faults? Greetings, and welcome to All Our Faults, a Monster Hearts 2 actual play podcast from the Tabletop Talespinners Network. I am your most grateful hostess and producer, Mistress Winter. Much like the proverbial ground shifting under the feet of our protagonists, I have been experiencing a similar shakeup. I'm at the tail end of a big move, but don't expect to feel a settled earth beneath me for a while. This may have some ripple effects on the quality of this episode, as well as future recordings. What I can promise, though, is that I am doing everything I can to ensure you the best listening experience that I can provide, because you deserve that, my dear listeners. I do have another announcement to that end. This will be the last main episode of All Our Faults before we take a 2-month break. We came to this decision recently due to the turbulence caused by my aforementioned move, as well as some casting changes. As Kat mentioned in part 1 of this chapter, we are at a halfway point in our teen story. This climactic episode offers an opportunity for us to split our season, reset, and rebrand for the second half, and give me a little time to catch up on editing. But that does not mean that we are leaving you without your All Our Faults fix. After this episode, we will post a series of weekly Aftershocks, with the last releasing on July 3rd. These will be short, individual stories similar to the faulty flashpoints that we started the show with, providing even more intense cliffhangers that we hope will bring you back in September. Further, we will release some bonus content to fill in this massive fissure between our episodes. We truly appreciate your patience and continued support. In our previous chapter, Michael, in his darkest self, caused chaos at Jacob's memorial. Bert dragged the dire wolf into the underworld, saving Saline and putting his own fate into question. Meanwhile, Crispin arrived at the cascade to perform his vigil, only to have his zealous entourage pick a fight with Jacob's mourners. Saline took notice of a supernatural influence being exerted by Dr. Miller, and an ensuing earthquake suspended the group's reunion as the seal that Crispin was meant to protect was broken. We hope you enjoy this exciting mid-season finale. Chapter 16, Our Lives Asunder, Part 2. Crispin, you are looking at the broken sigil. Michael and Saline have caught up.
How close is the sigil to the opening that's pouring out fairy magic light that reeks of the Wild Hunt?
The sigil is about halfway up the waterfall. So I'm going to say a good 100 feet. A ways higher from the opening at its base, where the light is pouring up out of. You have this grand waterfall. Crispin is perched on an outcropping of rock off the trail, gazing at something behind the waterfall, about 40 feet away. At the bottom of the waterfall, where it dumps into that giant cavernous area, light is pouring out of that hole. Little further in from that gaping chasm is a bridge that spans the river. And on that bridge are two groups of people who are currently mingled in all kinds of violence.
See, I love the violence part. That speaks to me. Who could I possibly agitate the most in the violence?
Considering that most of the unarmed people are making their retreat,
Oh, and they angered me recently, right?
Taylor did hit you.
Yes. Jacob's vigil.
Oh, God, you fucking bitch.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the Christians on the other side?
Yes.
Okay. This feels in line with my darkest self. Could I possibly do a Christ pose hovering between the two? In my, my angelic appearance, my blonde curls, my pale skin. But I take a Christ pose, a T-pose, if you will, between the two of them, chanting in Latin.
Sure.
I'd love that. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why Latin?
You cunt.
Why not? Something très catholique for them.
It's just not historically accurate.
Exactly.
Michael, if you will indulge me,
Yes, I would love to indulge you.
describe how you get to that point.
Yes, so because I'm a vampire, I like to go back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where vampires can hover, right? So they don't fly, but they hover.
Well, you've used this ability before to fly on Heart.
Hover up to windows, yeah, on William Harker. So I will put my arms out, cross my legs at the ankle, tilt my head, open my buttoned shirt. Maybe what I'll do for effect is I'll take my sharp nails and I'll make my torso bleed a little bit where the lens of Longinus would have pierced on the side. So I bleed just a little. And I will hover over the bridge just between the two and chant in Latin, just to awe everybody, as if I were possessed by angels, with my golden curls tumbling before my face. I would like to maybe evoke Hot in this moment as a role.
No.
No?
Shut someone down.
Shut someone down. So shut someone down requires which?
Hold.
Cold? Oh, okay. That's a +1 for me.
Okay.
That gets me a 7 total.
Okay. So you come across poorly, so you will gain a condition, but you get to choose. Either you can gain a string on someone in the crowd, give someone a condition, or gain a forward.
I would like to get a string on the leader of the Christians.
Daddy? Father Miller?
Daddy, yes. On Father Miller. I would like to get a string on Father Miller. He believes I am an angelic figure.
I don't like the sound you just made Winter make. I just want it noted. I didn't like it.
Because of my hot and my unnatural hovering quality. That is definitely unnatural. It must be angelic.
They definitely do not see you as the second coming.
No, definitely not that.
They do not revere you. If nothing else, the violence stops simply out of fear and confusion. And Jacob's group uses the opportunity to scatter and run for their cars, helping anybody still conscious back to their vehicles and eventually the emergency room. The religious group, we'll call them the lesser members, will retreat before the visage. Father Miller lingers, a seething hatred on his face, but with his devoted retreating back down the trail, he follows suit, and both groups will have left. Now I'm wondering, Crispin, your reaction to all of this.
Yeah. Oh God. Yep. This is the moment. I think Crispin would interpret this as his friend being possessed.
Ooh.
Yeah. Whatever evil Crispin is here to hold vigil against has claimed hold of his friend Michael. And so, in a rage, is there still light pouring out of the sigil?
Not the sigil, the cavern at the bottom of the waterfall.
Very light.
Cool. Yeah, that doesn't mean shit to Crispin.
Well, it's certainly not natural. So you have this unnatural light pouring up out of the caverns. You have Michael hovering as if crucified over the bridge.
It's like a reverse The Lost Boys.
Adorable. Yeah, I think for Crispin, this is like all of his worst nightmares made manifest. So he is going... Did I make it to the cracked sigil to see it with my own eyes before this happened?
You can see it,
okay,
but it would take some climbing to get to it and touch it physically.
I don't need to get to it and touch it. I just need to like see it and confirm that my fears have...
Oh yeah, it is. There's a neat crack through the top of it.
Okay, then I think my friend is possessed. I'm gonna go for the light and try to save my friend.
As the parties disperse, Michael will land on the bridge and turn around and look at Saline and Crispin.
Crispin's gone. Like, Crispin's making for that cavern.
Can you explain to me exactly what Crispin does, please?
I get eyes on the sigil. I turn around. I see Michael hovering, speaking Latin that I don't know that he knows. And I believe he has become possessed. So I make a dash for this cavern where this supernatural light is coming from. And I am brandishing my club. And I'm gonna fight the devil to save my friend Michael.
Okay. Can I do some things or try to?
What would you want to do?
Would trying to grab someone be lash out physically?
Yes.
Cool. There's a lot happening, and Crispin is about to find out I am Fae. Crispin, who does not know that the supernatural exists. Crispin, who is very much so in love with. And we just shared a pretty tender moment. Pretty sure he, at the moment, likes me back. But he is about to find out that I am Fae, particularly if he goes into this cavern, and he will probably die because the wild hunt is very close. So I'm feeling trapped. I would like to give myself the condition trapped so I get a +1 to lash out physically, and I would like to try to grab this fucking boy before he runs towards the cavern.
Roll lash out physically. And depending on how that goes, I will have you run or make a runaway.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, made it to an 8.
Okay.
So that's a success with consequences.
Yes. You do harm, but you choose one. Crispin learns something about your true nature. I decide how bad the harm turns out, or you become your darkest self. Gonna have everybody in their darkest self by the end of this one.
I don't think darkest self works right now.
Okay.
I think it would be counterintuitive.
Sure.
Because then I'd have to run away from everyone, and right now that is not my goal for once.
Fair enough.
Feel like I have to go with the obvious one. I feel like it's the best choice. He's gotta find something out about something is revealed to him about my true nature. I feel like it's gotta be.
Ooh, okay. Initially, you are surprised when Crispin takes off and hurries down into the caverns to face down this threat. You give chase. And though you know the caverns better, Crispin moves with this almost supernatural guidance that takes him in into the caverns just to the point of that portal, which you are familiar with, but is now twice its size.
Oh.
Something in you resonates with that portal. Whether it's your Fey blood, whether it's the mark, which has allowed you transition between the two worlds, but you call upon it instinctually and reach out to it in an effort to stop Crispin from certain death, certain doom. You attempt to close it. It reacts violently. There is an explosion of that power as it fights you and throws both of you back, Crispin being the closest, so you do take that harm. And when the energy clears, the magic evaporates, the portal is smaller again and very translucent. It seems that you may have closed it for now.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I fully closed the portal?
It does not. It seems almost like looking through a reflection of water. And when you move to touch it, it resists you.
Have I ever seen it like this before?
No, you have not.
Oh. Okay. Cool. No doubt.
Crispin, you were witness to all of this. And you witnessed the exchange of energy, the connection of magic between Saline and whatever this portal was. So you gain that string.
Question.
Huh?
You said that there was a force of power, right? I'm assuming my hair that is usually down covering my ears gets blown back, and my ears that are unnaturally pointed when you really look at them are on full display while this is all happening.
100%. There may even be a glimpse of your mark on your neck that shimmers with a resonating light, something similar to the portal that you just closed.
So as Crispin is running full bore towards this, unbeknownst to him, portal, he sees it start to seize and change. When he turns, he sees this energy exchange with Saline. As improbable, impossible as it seems, he knows that she's done it. That she is the reason that he is still standing there. And I think his initial thought is for her safety. You know, whatever got Michael came for her too. But then he really looks at her and he understands that she has done something. And it's not something that he can explain. It's not something that his father would understand. And I think for the first time ever when looking at Saline, he feels fear. And after a moment of just regarding her, he begins to stumble back away from her. Despite the fact that everything in him wants to go to her, wants to make sure she is okay, he's a coward. And tripping over his own feet, stuttering for words that never really come, he flees. He gets as far away as he possibly can.
Give me a runaway.
I really should have known that was coming.
Oh, yeah.
That's cold, right?
No, volatile.
Volatile, damn. All right. Well, I'm good at that. The 12.
You flee, and again, as if guided, you get out of the caves. You make it back up to the trails. There is one vehicle left from your church that had a little trouble starting and is just now getting going as you burst out into the parking lot. The driver sees you and motions you in.
It's not my dad,
It is not.
so I don't have to stay out here all night by myself.
That is up to you.
it's not my dad and it's not Father Miller,
Correct.
then it's probably one of the older ladies of the church. Someone I'm sure my father has complained about being soft, being less dedicated to the faith. And so I will start to take steps toward her as if to take her up on it. And then I will think better of it and just kind of wave them on to go. And I will spend the rest of the evening or the rest of the night until dawn sticking as close to like the edges of the parking lot as I can.
Okay. We will then come back to Crispin. Saline, you are left in Crispin's wake down in the caverns, the lights extinguished. Michael peering down from the bridge above.
Yes, I'm pretty satisfied with myself. What do I see when I turn back and look down?
You could have witnessed the scene between Saline and Crispin,
Mm-hmm.
and just are now staring down at Saline, who was left alone.
I want to ask a question about how it feels once the portal is quote unquote closed. What does it feel like for Saline? Is there a detachment? Does she feel shut off from her Fae heritage? Does it feel blocked? What does it feel like for her?
It feels like she's lost a limb. She was connected to something, and now it is just gone.
So reeling from that, I will also turn to Crispin, and before he leaves, I do think I get out essentially Crispin, wait, before he books it away from it. Before that moment settles that he is staring at me, kind of everything I've been afraid of him seeing, the fact that I'm Fae, the fact that I've being hunted by something, the fact that I used being hunted by something to cause the death of someone else. It is very much so crashing around her in that moment before he flees, and she would just kind of be left staring before she would turn to the portal, and I think she would just start banging her fists against it, trying to get through. And the more it doesn't work, that's when just kind of screaming starts, and she is just letting out screams and banging against this portal, and then the tears come.
Michael looking back, seeing Saline having a breakdown, thinks, I could meddle, but there's so much more fun to be had elsewhere, and Michael hovers off and floats in the direction of William Harker.
Okay. Oof. That's a powerful tableau. Each of you alone and in different emotional states. Crispin, you spend a long hour or two pacing the parking lot. A car pulls up. It is Dr. Miller.
Did I notice Dr. Miller in the chaos at the site of the fight?
She was not amidst the chaos. If you did take notice of her, she was off to the side, not engaged in any of what was going on.
Okay.
Crispin, are you okay?
You came back.
Of course.
I think seeing her here, seeing that she came back for him, Crispin knows what to do. I think he is elated to see her. And also, no, I don't think it occurs to him that her being here is unusual, especially because presumably Father Miller is not in the car with her.
Correct.
So I think he goes, there was a fight and I didn't know what to do, and it felt strange, and I saw things in the woods and my friends, and he's just babbling. I don't think any of it even makes sense. He's just the words are fighting to get out of his mouth so fast that he's just babbling.
Crispin, get in. With everything that has happened, I don't think that making you stay here overnight would do anyone any good.
But my vigil, my father and Father Miller said that...
It is okay. Get in. I'm gonna take you somewhere safe.
They drive. After a few moments, when Crispin has had time, he'll look over at Dr. Miller and go, It wasn't how I thought it would be. I thought I would just sit in the woods for a few hours and come home and everything would be the same. But that's not what happened at all.
I don't know if it's any comfort, but this is highly unusual. The events of tonight are unique, but your decision, your choice to not engage in that gruesome fray, to not perpetuate that violence, that showed you have a strong heart and means that you are of greater character than any other who has performed this vigil.
That's not what Father Miller would say.
No, he would not.
I think my friends are damned. Maybe it wasn't them, maybe it was a trick. The things I saw. Is the realm of hell upon us?
Many religions, spiritualities, believe that at some point there will be some form of end times, apocalypse, Armageddon, rapture, Ragnarok. It comes in many forms, based on your particular faith. And sometimes when we're faced with these situations, these overwhelming and seemingly supernatural events, it can definitely feel like the end times have come upon us. Now, I will not debate whether or not the end times are here. What I will say, though, are you willing, are you brave enough to face the challenges that will be presented to you and to overcome them? Will you face those demons, those dragons, those mythical creatures, and overcome them? Can you find the strength in yourself?
Crispin is quiet for a long time, stares out the window, and finally, painfully, he turns to Dr. Miller and by way of answer says, "When did Father Miller know that it was right and good that he should be a priest?"
I suppose it's been a calling all his life. However, he found his current path just about the time that we began courting.
I know I'm too young now, but after everything I've seen the last 2 nights, I don't think there's anything else for me.
What do you mean?
In a rush, Crispin will explain about seeing Jacob's body, about feeling responsible for Saline and for hurting her, and the research he did on Fenrir, and this sense that has been building up over the last week or so that just everything in the world is very wrong. And it has become an all-consuming thought for Crispin that there just is so much evil in the world that he had never taken seriously, that he had thought his father was overblowing, that the devil had been convincing him that all of this was bullshit, that all of this was false, that was fake, that none of it was real. A real psychologist would recognize the guilt and the shame and the self-blame and the survivor's guilt that Crispin is feeling. He is a teenage boy who is being faced with a very real and very scary dose of reality, and no one he feels like he can share it with. He barely has friends. He is the weird religious kid. He knows that. He's so grateful for the friends he does have. Juanita included, the fucking lunch lady. He can't talk to his dad. His mom might as well not be there. He is very alone. And I don't think he's ever approached this in his sessions with Dr. Miller because even to him it sounds crazy. But I think just over the last 2 nights, he's just seen too much and been pushed too far and would sacrifice anything to just, even if he can't make it stop, to at least feel like he's trying.
There's a song that the song lyrics spoke to me a little bit. They say that it's not that my arms will fail me, but this world takes more strength than it gave me.
Yeah, that feels right.
So you are by no means weak or unworthy or incapable. Your potential is limitless. But sometimes we need help from others, need help from our environment, luck, if you will.
Feel that luck has ever been on my side.
But I can help.
Crispin perks up at that for sure.
I can help you find that strength, the power to control your destiny, control those things in your life that feel out of control.
Please, I hate to ask you for more than you already do for me, but I'm at a loss. I don't know where to go next.
Come with me, and I will show you. I will help you and guide you, and you will find that strength.
Okay.
Out of game, I would like to offer Kat,
Yes.
the character of Crispin, to trade off the knight for the horseman.
Okay.
It's one that I've made.
Oh no, I'm so scared. I'm so scared and so excited.
Wait, what? Expliquez-nous, madame.
Tell me everything.
It's a really cool skin.
The horseman of the apocalypse, more specifically.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that I got the vibe. Yep.
I was thinking the horseman of, like, Sleepy Hollow. So, wait, tell us more, madam.
Just a brief description. The apocalypse draws ever nearer, and you are its harbinger. You are no mere doomsayer. Your very existence is a warning of the end as well as its catalyst. Whether you are a devoted disciple or an unwilling participant in which this mantle has been thrust, you are compelled to influence your environment and people in it down the path of destruction and ruin.
Ooh. What a mood. Oh, for the listening audience, Kat's face at this moment is incredible. The eyes have gone wide. The smile has gone bananas. The face is incoherent.
I'm reading the moves.
Tell us.
I will say that in this particular instance, you are being offered the red horse of war.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Can you describe to us, those of us who are not currently reading the Red Horse of War, like me, what the Red Horse of War offers?
Yeah. Strife and conflict erupt around you. You can pull a string on someone in the scene to compel them to lash out physically. And then I was also reading the sex move. Ask the partner if they will be your ride or die. If they say yes, you can summon them to your side by spending a string you have on them.
I love that.
Oh, this is scary.
It's spicy, is what it is.
Broken seal. Take 1 forward if you willingly follow someone else's behest.
I will allow you to peruse that skin and you can make a decision. It doesn't have to be like right now.
Imagine it as a deal with the devil.
Kinda, yeah. That's where I'm at right now. Yep.
So we will fade out on their discussion. Michael, do you take your vehicle or you just float back into town?
I'm just floating.
So at least Saline has a ride back if keys are still around.
So I'm in my darkest self. I imagine I'm in maximum drama mode, which means I'm angering everybody. I'm making everyone as uppity as possible, and I am on my way to poor William Harker's home, floating through the air, as obscured as possible, but I am floating. I am not driving, I'm not walking, I'm not riding a bicycle, I'm not taking a unicycle, I'm not taking the trolley. I am floating through the air.
I love that it's not flying. Like, you're not flying. You're floating.
Correct. Yeah. No, I'm not a bird. I'm not a butterfly. I am floating.
You're not a bat.
No, I'm not hovering. I'm not a bat. It is a float. It is not a fly. Maximum appeal. You're welcome.
All right. Michael, you float back into town, heedless of who may spot you or any potential dangers, and float directly to William Harker's home.
William, I'm here.
There's a stirring at the curtains. Are you on the roof or?
I'm outside his window. If he's looking, I am floating still. But if he's not looking, I'm just outside the window.
There is a stirring at the window. He will push aside the curtain and stare wide-eyed out at you.
William, can I come in?
May I turn someone on?
Happily. I've wanted to turn him on for so long. I've waited for this for so long. And I'm so out of my own mind. I got an 8. No, hold on, wait. I got a 9. Math is hard.
Yes. And he will step back. Essentially, he's taking the promise something he thinks you want.
Yeah. I open his window. I come in.
He steps back, but is otherwise frozen to the spot.
William, may I? And I extend my hand to touch his cheek.
He twitches, but it is just this tension that is running through his body, this fear, this excitement that he's wholly unfamiliar with, on top of just the abnormal circumstances. But he does not pull away.
My fangies pop. William, I've wanted you for so long. And I'd like to use my sex move if I could, which is to ultimately deny him, but I want to work him up first.
Give me another turn someone on.
Another turn him on? Okay. I rolled a 10 plus 2, so 12 total. Oh, golly.
You gain a string.
Yeah, sure, I'll write that down. Oh, golly.
And he becomes completely compliant. Enchanted, entranced, bewitched, however you want to describe it. But you have him firmly in your grasp, and he is yours.
And I think what I do is I caress his neck and his chest and his arm, and I kiss his cheek. William, I've wanted this for so long. And I drink from him. And I make sure he doesn't die using my vampire move.
Of course.
And because of my other vampire move, he's marked for the hunt. And also, I don't need to heal one harm, so I'm going to take a forward.
Perfect.
And then I will, lick the wound and heal it. I will deny him more sex with my sex move. William, another night, though. Now is not the time. But know that I do want you badly. Good night. And I will, slide out the room without walking, out the window, hovering, and then, float out the way while he's kind of, blinking to himself into the moonlight.
You leave him a quivering mess.
Good.
Who knows if he'll wake up in the morning and think it was just a fucking crazy-ass sex dream, or if he now knows you to be a vampire. Guess we'll find out.
We'll say I left him a pencil. Like a mechanical pencil that only I would use, that he would recognize. So he knows I was there.
Fair enough.
But he's confused about the whole event. So it's all a blur, but he knows that something had to be real.
You float out. Are you going home?
I'm trying to experience the last bit of normalcy, given I have thrown my phone into the chasm after my idiocy. So yeah, I'm gonna float home. I'm not gonna fly home. And I am going to spend my time with my little brother, and I'm going to play video games with Gideon.
Before you get home, you feel this mental spike in which your master's voice sneers your name. Michael, to me now.
Fine. I guess I'm fucked, and I will go. Like hovering midair over like a mall. And I will just my arms will fall limp. My head will drip. My blonde curls will bounce. And I will turn in the direction of Daddy's apartment.
Alrighty.
I will pause and I will float in the correct direction, despite my best interests, against the moonlight.
We will come back to that. Saline, you are left alone, sobbing at the bottom of the caverns. The portal to your other home, your father, closed to you.
When you say there's resistance, is it resistance I can at all push back against?
When you press against it, it's almost like you're pressing against a very thick, ballistic gelatin. It gives, but you can't push through.
In this state of mind, I'm not accepting the situation, so I am going to, in a fit of just kind of all-consuming true despair, I'm going to try and force myself into the portal. It is not letting me through.
No, but give me a gaze into the abyss.
Oh, for sure. 4.
It resists every attempt, and you have no idea if this is permanent or if this is temporary.
I will turn around and slide down to the ground against the portal, and I will pull out my mirror and just start whispering to myself, please, 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 please. And I am going to open up the mirror and, in a desperate last attempt to connect back to the fairy world, I'm going to try to contact my father using the mirror.
The mirror swirls and swirls, and nothing ever takes shape.
Can I ask to clarify because sometimes he doesn't answer, so to speak. Is this different? Is this, I can't connect to the fairy world anymore? Do I feel that it's different?
Essentially like static. So you're trying to connect on the radio and you are just getting static.
In a fit of rage, I am going to scream and slam the mirror down into the ground.
The mirror breaks, cracking across its surface, and even the swirling colors, the static, fade until it is simply just a mirror.
I think that will kind of throw me into another set of sobs as I kind of realize what I've done and this connection that I've lost, especially now about like everything that happened with Michael, everything that happened with my sister, everything that happened with Crispin, the things that have been going on with my mom and my stepdad. Like, there is nothing for me in the human realm. Now I'm literally trapped here. When the sobs will fade for a second, I have all these questions bubbling up in me, and one in particular is just why? Towards my mom? Why did she take me away from the Pharaoh? Why did she leave my dad? Why did she put me in this situation, make me live a half-life in the Fae realm, a half-life in the human realm? Right now, my anger is towards her because it's the most tangible thing. So I'm going to close up the mirror. I am going to stand up, take a shaky breath, and I am going to leave the chasm. And if I see Michael's car there with the keys, I am going to get into the car and drive to my home. I do not have a license. I know how to drive. I feel like that's something Saline would know how to do. But she does not have a license. She does not have a car. But I'm going to drive home to confront my mom.
Okay. I'm thinking that this might be a good place to stop. My eternal gratitude to the Tabletop Talespinners Network and its amazing director, Emma Kocar, for our home and support. Many thanks to our social media queen, Juicy Garland. You are a true champion of this show, and we appreciate you. My love goes out to our fantastic cast, Abby Marie Carter, who can be found at Abby_Marie_Carter, Juicy Garland at Juicy Garland, and Kat Kelly at Kat the Dungeon Mom. Due to scheduling conflicts, we unfortunately had to say goodbye to Ben. We are so grateful for his work with us and truly wish him all the best in his future endeavors. Stay tuned for the first of our Aftershocks due to release next Wednesday. We will be back with full episodes on Wednesday, September 4th. In the interim, I encourage you to check out our newest ad partner, Characters Without Stories. It is an easy listen podcast that explores the ideas and inspiration behind those who have not yet walked the road of adventure. More info in the ad to follow. I have been your hostess and producer, Mistress Winter. I can be found at gmistresswinter. Thank you for listening, and may your hearts be safe and loved until we meet again. Good night.
Characters Without Stories is a tabletop role-playing game podcast about the roads not yet traveled. Every episode, I bring in a friend to tell me about a character they long to play. Characters Without Stories is about how our characters intersect and reveal our identities, and how play is a gateway to personal growth.
The way I see tabletop is that I am running to something. I'm running to a world where it's possible for me to feel comfortable enough to stand up for myself.
The reason that you can die in these games is because it matters. And something mattering is one of the most precious things we can have. You want your life and your stories to matter.
Roleplay is a fantastic tool for exploring stories and exploring people.
Thank you, and may all your characters find their stories.
This has been a tale from the Tabletop Talespinners Network.